This is the Book Deal Podcast,
where you will discover the inspiring stories behind your favourite books.
We interview seasoned and debut authors, as well as publishing industry professionals, to bring you the best tips and advice on how to get that elusive book deal.
So no matter what stage of writing you're at, we've got you covered. I'm Tina Strawn.
I'm Madeline Cleary.
And I'm Natasha Rai.
And join us as we pull back the curtain of published authors,
one deal at a time. The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on, and pays respect to their elders past, present and emerging.
Bridie Blake lives and writes in Melbourne. She's a self-confessed daydreamer and consumer of reality TV who can sniff out chocolate like a bloodhound and will never turn down a coffee or the opportunity to listen to Taylor Swift. She writes stories filled with longing looks, swoony love interests, and a dollop of humour. Her debut novel, The Boyfriend Clause, is published with Text Publishing in March 2026. Hey, Bridie, how's it going?
Hello, it is good. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be chatting to you.
My pleasure. And you just told me before we started recording that it's only a few days till The Boyfriend Clause is out.
Yes, I'm not great at maths, but I think it's 3 days. I'm trying to count in my head. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yes, so we're recording on Saturday and then it's out on Tuesday.
What are you doing on the day itself?
I haven't decided yet. In speaking to my editor, she was telling me just wander into bookstores, look at it. If it's in a position that you don't want it in, move it. So I might be doing a little bit of that. And I might see if my parents want to take me out for lunch.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very family-centric book.
It is.
And, I dedicated it to my parents. So I feel like the least they could do is take me out to lunch to celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable moving books around shelves?
No. No, I might have to take a shot before I walk in, but I'll just sneak around. No, I'm such a goody two shoes. Oh my gosh, if I pull a book off a shelf to read the back of it, I make sure it goes back in the exact spot and position that it was in because I don't want to get yelled at. So yeah, I actually don't think I'll have the guts to move my book.
Just try it. Just try it once.
Try it? Okay.
Just try it. Just do it face out and then run away. Yeah.
Run away.
It's really fun.
That might be the plan. Okay, that might be what I do. So that'll be my day on Tuesday. And I've been told that it'll be a lot of social media.
Yes.
So just a lot of responding to messages and
yeah,
it might feel very overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed by social media on a daily basis. So well, it's be 10 times that.
If it helps, something I did realize that you don't have to respond to everyone on the day. You can just take your time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people aren't going to get offended because people assume that, especially because once you comment or you congratulate someone on social media, your algorithm shows you all of the posts. So people are going to see that. Yeah. And also, especially author friends, they know what it's like. So
They do. Again, this is probably just my people-pleasing tendencies where I must respond day of. Must do it. Hence why I won't move my book.
You don't have to. You can just enjoy it.
Okay, I will attempt to enjoy it. Yes,
because it does kind of go a bit in a blur sometimes.
Right.
Just take as much time on the day, or just remind yourself every now and then to be like, oh yeah, I can enjoy this because it's a huge achievement. Congratulations.
I wrote a book. Yeah,
you wrote a book.
Yeah, I wrote a book.
Exactly.
I got a book deal.
I know.
Small feat. I mean, you've done it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I am trying to enjoy it. People get telling you to live in the moment. I'm not very good at that, but I'm trying.
Just do moments of it then.
Yeah.
Don't worry about going, I'll try and do it all day. Just go as soon as when you remember, just do it.
Yeah.
So let's start with, so the novel is called The Boyfriend Clause.
Yeah.
Can you give us your elevator pitch?
I can attempt to. So let us go. So The Boyfriend Clause is a rom-com about a cafe owner with a fake boyfriend, an overly invested mother, and a loan agreement that cares far too much about Sabrina Fogarty's love life. In order to save her business and her sanity, Sabrina ropes in her broody neighbour, bestselling author Adam Whitaker for a mutually beneficial fake dating deal, only to have him invited along on her family holiday to the UK. So 1 week of forced proximity, awkward pretending, and inconvenient chemistry later, and this carefully staged romance threatens to become something real.
Wow, that was so
Did I do it?
good. Yes.
Yes, I have been pacing around my house practicing that for, I would say, about 3 weeks.
It's amazing. Like
Yeah.
quite a few debut authors I've spoken to, your pitches are so polished.
We practice. We all listen to this podcast, so we know it's the first question you get asked. So we
Yes.
are all practicing,
Well,
just
that's
so you
good.
know. Yeah.
So tell me, Bridie, are you a rom-com reader as well?
I am. So I didn't used to be. So I was a hardcore like young adult reader and writer. And then during the pandemic, life was just depressing, and I
Mm.
didn't want to read about depressing stuff. So I'd started reading rom-coms, and I think Jen DeLuca was like my first foray. I don't know if you've heard of Jen DeLuca. She writes this Ren Fair series. She's US based, and I just fell in love, and I
Mm.
didn't look back. And that was when I was like, oh my God, I'm going to write rom-coms. I'm going to stop writing depressing stuff and write fun stuff. It's okay.
What are your favorite elements when you're reading as a reader? Like, what do you love about them?
Oh, honestly, I love that they just make me smile. I'm like, that is the biggest thing for me, especially over the last few years, and that they give me an escape. So I love to just dive into the pages. They're not, and this is coming from somebody who writes rom-coms, they're not the most overly realistic storylines. Like they're not. So, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so when you do dive into one, it is pure escapism. And there's just something so beautiful about that. And if it makes you smile, if it makes you laugh, if it just makes you feel happy and just makes you forget about something that might be going on in your life at the time, that's all you want. That's
Yeah,
all I
I have to say, like, I don't read a lot of rom-coms, but the few that I
want.
do read, there's such an element of joy to them. Like,
So much joy.
yeah.
Yeah, they just make you happy. And there's just nothing wrong with being made to feel
Oh, I
happy.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Do you like to watch like shows or movies as well?
You know what? I do. I love a rom-com movie. You got all the classics. Julia Roberts is just the absolute queen. If she's in a rom-com, I am watching it. TV shows, I don't actually watch rom-com TV shows. I am like a thriller
Ah,
miniseries type girl. I am like, if there's a TV show where somebody is murdered and we're trying to solve what's going on, I'm all over that. But yeah, movie-wise, I love a rom-com. Give me them all.
but you know, given that like you have that varied taste between like TV and
Mm,
movies, like it feels like you would be noticing like the differences in storytelling and
yeah.
how that kind of plot works and how
Mm.
characterization works. Is that something that you kind of have become aware of, or you just kind of enjoy it for what it is?
I wish it was something I'd become aware of, but I honestly, I just enjoy it. It's
Mm.
just, I love that I can watch a rom-com and it can just be so out there and ridiculous. And then I love like the grittiness that you find in watching a thriller where it's just dark and they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders. There is such a massive difference in them. And I
Mm.
love that. It's kind of like
Yeah.
me, the light and dark in me.
Yeah, it
I'm
is. It
like,
definitely is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So maybe one day I'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to try my hand at writing a thriller. But I'm so bad at like trying to come up with red herrings and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't come up with them. I can pick them out, but I can't come up with them.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I don't know how.
Mhm.
I mean, I have so much admiration for crime and thriller writers. It's like I don't
Oh,
know how you do that.
how do their brains work that way?
Mm.
Mine just doesn't at all.
But you mentioned when we first, like when we started, 10 minutes
Mm.
ago, that you used to write dark
I
stuff. Tell me about
did.
that.
I
Yeah.
wrote depressing stuff. So I was just hardcore. I'm a young adult author, never going to change. I was so adamant. And that's what I love to write, all the like the melodrama. I was that kid that was always watching like the soap operas. And so very melodramatic. My characters were so over the top with their emotions. And then I sort of started weaving in a little bit of murder, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And yeah, it got really, really dark there at certain points in the books that I was writing. I accidentally wrote a suspense.
Oh,
My then
well done.
agent told me
Yeah.
that I'd written a suspense, and I was like, oh, pat myself on the back. Don't know how I did that. Probably can't back that up. And she'd signed me as a suspense author. So we were in a little bit of trouble there. And I think when I was like struggling to write follow-ups to that one that she signed me on, that was when I was just like, oh, I'm not enjoying this anymore. Like I
So
lost that joy.
I want to come back to that,
Mm.
but I'm curious about when you got the writing bug. Like, have you been writing since you were a child,
Entire
or?
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was writing stories when I was a kid.
Mhm.
My very first story was a co-write with my best friend at the time. And it was about a jar of Vegemite and a jar of peanut butter who had a fun day out together. Yeah, we thought it was brilliant. Like we did all the illustrations. It was an absolute
Oh,
crowd pleaser. Oh yeah, we shared it. We took it took it in turns to take it home with us, and I think we did a show and tell on it about 20 times. But yeah, we were very proud of ourselves. And then ever since then, I have always been writing. So when I was supposed to be studying in like year 11 and year 12, I was on my computer writing stories instead. My BCE score will probably tell that tale. But yes, that's what I was doing. And yeah, so I listen to people when they're being interviewed, and they always say, I always wanted to be a writer, but I decided to, take the sensible path, and I went to uni and I studied something and I followed a career. I did the opposite. I was like, yeah, we're not going to be sensible. Let's do one semester of uni, quit because it's just not for us, and let's just try and write. It then took me a good 20 years to get to the point that I am at, but yeah, it is what
but
it is.
Bridie, that's incredible, and that's
Mm,
wonderful that you did that, because it just, I mean, I was the same. Like, it feels to me that a lot of writers didn't have the self-belief or sheer stubbornness, whatever you want to call it, or the kind
stubbornnness.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, what supported you to kind of stick with it, given that, you just said it took so long to get I assume you mean
Yeah.
publishing, right?
Publishing deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what? I will say stubbornness. I was just so determined that this is what I wanted to do. Um, and I just kept writing, and like writing made me happy. It was like my therapy. It was my emotional support. It was, if I wasn't doing it, I noticed I was like, my mood would drop, and it
Mm.
literally just escaping into these worlds and these characters. It was an escape, and that is why I write. And I just honestly just kept at it. There was one point, I think in my early 20s, and I sent a book off for a manuscript assessment. And like basically they came back with, yeah, this isn't great. Like your writing is not great. And I could have walked away then. I feel like quite a few people may have, but
Mm.
I was just like, no, this is what we're going to do. And so I just kept at it, kept at it, kept at it. And I just kept writing. And then with each book that I worked on, I became better.
Did you notice that getting better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am my own harshest critic. So over those like 20 plus years, I have written 17 books.
Wow.
And of those 17 books, they have all had multiple drafts. It wasn't just a one draft, one and
Mm.
done, pop it in a drawer. Like I would work on them that much. But then I would look at it and be like, you know what? That's actually not great. We are going to pop that in a drawer. You're not even going to attempt to send that out to anyone because you can do better. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
Well, I
thing.
mean,
I think
it's
that's why it took
actually,
me so long.
well, there's a lot of wisdom in that, because, to recognize that something isn't working, but then to go, actually, what it might benefit from is a break
Mm,
or some time.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I just kept at it. But I mean,
Mm.
there's just no other way of saying it. I just kept going. Like you could have 20 million people telling me you suck. And I'd be like, yeah, but this is what I want to do. So I'll just keep practicing until I get there.
Which is a really, really good resource. That
Yeah.
resilience and that kind of, okay, well, this is what makes me happy, so I'm going to
Yeah.
stick with it.
Yeah.
So, did you always want to be kind of traditionally published?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I did. I mean, walking into a bookstore to see my book on the shelf, that is the absolute dream. And that is what I was working towards. I probably in my late 20s got super, super impatient and put things out in the world that we're not ready to be sent out to be published. And so I have a few little regrets around that, but I was always working towards that goal of getting that traditional publishing deal. To me, that was the top of the mountain. That was what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then how did it work for you, Bridie? Like along the way, obviously there were rejections and there were people who turned things down.
Yep.
In these early days, like what were you doing? Were you submitting to agents? Were you submitting to competitions? Yeah, how did you start?
So I wasn't submitting to competitions, and I kick myself a little bit for that because I should have, but I just had no idea what I was doing. And, you know, back then there weren't the resources that we have. Oh no, I'm saying back then, I'm like making myself sound ancient. Back in the old days, we didn't have the resources that we have now. But, you know, we didn't know all that much, you know, like scrolling Reddit for answers just wasn't a thing that you did. And like the, you know, Instagram community didn't exist. So I would have had no idea about these competitions. So I was submitting to publishers, to agents, and just really trying to get a foot in the door that way. And it was a lot of no's. It was a lot of, no, this is not for us. I got close with a few books early on, where I was getting like the full requests and there was some thinking about it, and then it just didn't pan out. And then in 2019, 2019, end of 2019, I signed with an agent over in the US for the accidental young adult suspense,
yes.
Right? And so that was just, God, that was a moment. That was just like, oh my God, I've done it. And I just thought, oh, I'm going to get a book deal now.
Yeah, it's so the hope, right? And then the kind of it just soars with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most, oh gosh, it was awful. It was rough.
So I definitely want to come back to that. But before this agent took you on, the feedback that you were getting after people were requesting the full, was any of that feedback, do you remember, was it useful? Like, was it stuff you could use, or was it just no?
Not for us. Yeah. Which is honestly one of the worst things that you can hear, because I am somebody, I crave feedback. Like, give me feedback. If it's awful, tell me why. Like, give me a list. I will literally walk away. If you give me a 30-page list of reasons as to why you don't like this, I will pour over that list and I will work on that list. So yeah, I think that's really hard when all you get is a, not for us, sorry, or just no response in the end.
Oh God, those are the worst.
They're rough, because you're kind of holding on to that last bit of hope that they're going to respond. You're like, it's been about 12 months. They probably aren't. You just can't let it go.
I know, because it's like the kind of, but at the same time, there's a little hope, like maybe there's a little kernel. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I'll be that one.
So had you been submitting to US, when you were submitting to agents, was it only in the US? And what was your thinking behind that?
Yep. So because I was writing young adult just wasn't really, it just wasn't as big in Australia. So the US was the market there. And this was back when like Twitter was Twitter. And the writing community on Twitter was just massive. And I made a lot of connections on there, and they were all US-based authors. And so that was really all I knew. So I just thought, I'll send it off over there. That's, that's where my focus is going to be. I wrote my books with US characters in a US setting. So it just felt like that was my option. And yeah, my then agent was, US based.
And so what happened after you signed? I assume they were submitting to publishers.
They were. So we signed, and then the pandemic hit. Yep. And there was all the political unrest in the US, and editors were leaving the business in droves. Like, it was crazy how quickly they were leaving the business. And we were on submission for, it was about 2 years. And it was brutal. It was just, she'd had this like live spreadsheet, and she would update that anytime she got a response. And I was obsessively checking that. If it was like 9 to 5 in the US, I was on that spreadsheet. I was so determined. I couldn't write anything else. I was so fixated on this is my big break, because I loved that book. That book was like the young adult book of my soul. And I still to this day, so much. And I would just watch these rejections come in, and we got so close with one publisher. There was an editor who loved it, but she couldn't get the rest of the team on board.
Oh,
That was soul crushing.
heartbreaking.
I was just
No.
like, you are kidding me. So this thing that I thought was my big break, it was just no, 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 no at every corner. So that was rough. That was really hard.
And so at which point did your agent say, okay, I think we have to let this one go?
So she never actually said it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I was sitting there kind of like watching the spreadsheet and I'm like, I feel like it's done.
Mm,
So we just never had that discussion where we were like, okay, let's call time on it.
mm.
We just kind of
Just
wiped our
drifted.
hands of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and sort of moved on to something else. And that's when I was trying to come up with other suspense ideas and I just couldn't latch onto one. I kept
Mhm.
trying and I'd get like 40,000 words in. I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. Like I've just lost my passion for it. And that was when I was like, you know what? I want to write a rom-com. So I just emailed her and I was like, yeah, I'm going to switch to adult rom-coms. And she was like, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was on board, which,
Mhm.
yeah, was surprising. But
Yeah.
yeah, she was pretty keen to move into the adult space.
So how did you start the boyfriend clause? What was the kind of first seed for that?
So I wish I had a really cute story. I wish it was oh my God, I walked past a cafe one day and there was a broody like author in the window and there was a cafe owner hassling him about buying baked goods. But no, it all started with a little white lie. So I had written a rom-com and I sent the pitch off to my then agent. And just before I hit send, at the very bottom of it was like, if you don't like this idea, no dramas, I have others. Because again, people pleaser, wanted to impress her, wanted her to love me. Didn't think anything of it because she was totally going to love this idea that I was sending her. Yeah, no, she didn't. So,
Oh,
no. And she was like, okay, so can you send me these other ideas you've got? And I was like, shit, I don't have an idea. I have
mm.
nothing. So I panicked and I went for a walk and it was over a weekend. So I went for a whole lot of walks because walking is where we do our best thinking.
Mhm, mhm.
So I chucked some music on and off I went. And so I'd had this like initial like scene in my head, and that's the opening scene of the boyfriend clause.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So Sabrina running for her life. And, that is inspired by a few people in my life who have sort of experienced that desperate need to get themselves to a toilet quick smart. So I had that, but I didn't know how to get beyond that. I'm like, how do you turn this into a rom-com? Like
Mm.
literally, how do you get these two people to forgive and forget about what happens in the elevator? And so, yeah, I was like, okay, let's have a think about that. And we'd just come out of like 100 lockdowns here in Melbourne.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
hadn't been able to travel. And I was like, you know what? Let's live vicariously through these characters. Let's send them off on a holiday, force them to spend every waking minute together because that is the only way they're going to talk to each other. It's the only way they're actually going to start to develop some feelings.
Mm.
So, okay, I've got that. That was all I had. I was like, great.
Gosh.
I
Mm.
know. And then I thought, okay, let's fall back on the age-old writing advice of write what you know. So I thought, okay, what do I know? I know TV. I love TV. I watch a whole lot of TV. So I've decided to create a TV show and send these characters off to tour the filming locations of it.
Oh, okay.
Now
Having read the book, like I'm now making all the connections.
right?
Okay,
There
cool.
are these
Yes.
little things that sort of come together, and it's like I know grumpy, introverted authors who sometimes suffer from writer's block because I am one. I know big, loud families because I belong to one. So why don't I send Sabrina's family off to cause some drama? And I know baking because, not to brag or anything, but
Brag.
I will brag because I have watched the Great British Bake Off more times than you can count. And I can literally talk for hours about soggy bottoms, the joy that is Mary Berry, and just how
I miss her. Yeah, I
Oh,
do. I do
oh my
miss her.
God,
Yeah.
she was a gem. I
She was the
adore her.
best. Mm.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't quite recover after she
I
left.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Mm.
Everyone says that they love Prue, and I'm like, yeah, Prue's good, but
But
Mary,
Nigella's taking over, just as a quick aside.
yeah, I know, right? I don't know how I feel about
I
that.
think she'll make it quite sexy with her
Yeah, it'll be different. But yeah, I miss
hot
the
buns
old
or whatever she says.
days. But I do miss the old days of it. So
Mm.
I was just like, yeah, let's channel some Mary Berry and let's turn Sabrina into a baker.
And given your love of the show, I assume as
Yeah,
well that you're going to brag that you're a baker too.
hell no. Can't bake for crap. Yeah. Again, living vicariously through my characters.
Nice, I like
I'm
it.
the grumpy author. I'm not like the fun-loving baker. Yeah.
Because I have to say, I did get a bit annoyed with you because every time I read a description of one of her baked goods, I was like, oh my God, I really want that now. And I got quite
What is
obsessed
that?
with thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, I really want that.
Yeah, so I was writing that while eating Woolies brand like biscuits and stuff. I'm like, this is not the same. This isn't right. So no, I should start baking just so that, yeah.
No. Maybe you could do like a complimentary recipe book for all the recipes that Sabrina
Good.
bakes. Oh my
Should.
God.
That means I actually have to come up with the
Well,
recipes.
that's
So
true.
we may not do too well with that.
So then, okay, so you had these flashes of these
that.
ideas, and you're like,
Yeah.
these elements, I want to work them in.
Yep.
Then how did you start?
I wrote a pitch. I
Okay.
literally pulled all of those elements together. And before I write any book, I write a pitch for it.
Oh my God, you're one of those
I
people.
am one of those people. I just think it tells you if a book's got legs. Because you got to write in your pitch, you got to have that beginning, the middle, the end. You got to know what the conflict is.
That's true. Good advice.
Yeah.
Good
And
tip.
if I can't write a pitch, I cannot write the book.
Sorry, listeners can't see me. My eyes just went. You
Yeah.
can't write the pitch. You can't write the book.
For me,
Yeah. No, I'm
personally
just thinking of that because
cannot. Yeah.
that's such an interesting concept to
Yeah.
me. I'm just like, I can never write the pitch before even after writing the book.
Oh my
I
gosh,
struggle with pitches so badly.
really? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
maybe
my
I should
pitch
talk to
is.
you offline about this.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm good at them. I'm just saying that that's what I do.
Well,
So,
your pitch earlier was spot on. It was
yeah.
great.
Nailed it. But yeah, no, I have to write the pitch. And then once I've written that pitch, I just sort of, it sounds so lame, but it's like I kind of know where to go then.
Yeah, no, it's not
Yeah.
lame. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I sit and I write. I'm also an outliner. So I will write a solid like 10 to 11,000 word outline.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So in your outline, are you like literally going like scene, like what each scene might be? Or how does your outline work?
I know. I don't plan out by scene. I literally just write down absolutely everything in chronological order that I think is going to happen. Some of it will be dialogue that I've got in my head, and I'm like, okay, get the conversation down, and it'll be super, super detailed. And I'll be like, okay, A to Z, this is what needs to happen in this part. Other times it'll be so vague where it'll be like, character A needs to talk to character B, and that'll be it in the outline. I'm like, what do they need to talk to them about? It'll come to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it varies throughout the outline. But in saying that, my outline, it changes. Like I go off script and I just kind of then keep it there as a guide to be like, this is what you're wanting to achieve.
Yes.
Looking
Okay.
absolutely nothing like what your draft is, but this is what you were originally wanting to achieve.
But also, even if it kind of goes off the outline, presumably you still know that you're heading the same place that you need to end. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. My endings will sometimes change.
Oh, okay.
I don't always know my ending, except obviously with rom-coms, you know that there's a happily ever after. So you can't really go wrong there. But yeah, there might be a certain element of it that I've got fixated in my head. I'm like, this is what we're kind of going to do. And then it'll just completely change. And yeah, you just run with it.
So then you sent a pitch to your agent?
I did. And she loved it. And she said, great. Can you write this? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Sure can.
Was there a deadline that you agreed? No. Okay. All right.
No. So she agreed to that at the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
And at that time, I was still kind of like trying to write a young adult, but so I kind of like toyed with that and then was sort of playing around with the first 20,000 words of the boyfriend clause. Because for me, that's how I get to know my characters. I'm not somebody that creates like character sheets or does like deep dive interviews with my characters. I get to know them by writing them. So my first 20,000 words, I'll kind of get that out and then sit on it. And so that's
And
what I did with this.
were those 20,000 words what is in the opening now? Like, did they make that in?
Yeah, for the most part. So the
Mm.
first chapter has really not changed.
Oh.
I love my first chapter.
It's
I'm
great, first chapter.
so
Yeah.
proud of that first chapter. So that really hasn't changed. Maybe a couple of words, a couple of sentences. But yeah, that sort of stayed the same. And yeah, basically that first 20,000, there was maybe some elements that kind of changed, but nothing major.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you started at the beginning of 2022. At which point did you finish a draft that you felt happy with?
Yep. So in December, I decided to commit to it. So December 2022. And then by April, it was done.
Okay. That's really fast.
Yeah, which at the time it didn't feel fast.
Mm.
Holly Braunbauer, a debut
Yes.
crew member of 2025,
Yes.
we were swapping chapters on a weekly basis. So she was getting my mess of a first draft and she was sending me a masterpiece. And through her feedback, I was kind of able to apply that as I was going. And so by April, I was like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good about this draft. So after that, I kind of did like a sweep, and I mean a sweep of edits. Like I really didn't go too in depth with them before I sent it off to my agent. Yeah.
And what was the response? What happened after that?
She loved it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. No, she loved it. She thought it was great. We did a really light edit on it. And then we did some line editing, but yeah, there wasn't anything extensive. Like there was nothing structural. I didn't have to change too much, which was actually really nice because with the YA suspense that I did with her, we had a major structural.
Right.
I was like bracing myself for that, but yeah, this was so light. It was bliss.
And what about the setting, given that your agent is in the US and this is an Australian book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So initially, I wrote them as US characters.
That's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I did with the US setting, and it just didn't feel right to me. And I was like, oh, I sent it to her, but I wasn't in love with the story, if that makes sense. It was kind of like, oh, here we go. This is the book that I told you I was going to write. Oh, here it is. And then in the first edit that I did with her, I was like, oh my God, I think I've worked out why it's not sitting right with me. And it's like, these characters are Australian. The humor that I wrote.
I was going to say the humor is very Australian.
Yes. That's my humor.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's what's missing. And so I changed it. And there really wasn't that much that I had to change. Like literally a scene with Vegemite toast, like the spelling of mum. Like that was it. And then we put it into the Melbourne setting instead of, I think we had it as Boston or New York. I can't remember. And then I sent it back to her. And I was like, oh, hey, just FYI, I've changed it all to Australian. And there we go. Yeah, no, she didn't like that.
No, okay. I didn't think so. Yeah.
She came back and she said, oh, look, can we put it back to US-based, US characters? She's like, if you're concerned about it, she's like, you can just be super vague about where they're from. And so I took out all mention of any like US city or anything like that because it just didn't feel right. And so we ended up going out on submission with it.
Just to US publishers?
US publishers. And again, it was a weird experience. I felt this disconnect with it. I wasn't obsessively checking the spreadsheet that we had. And then when I would get feedback from it, it was all glowing. It would literally reading like 5-star reviews and then there'd be a but. And it would be a super fixable but.
Like what? Do you remember any of them?
Like there was something that they wanted it put in the beginning. Something to do with Adam. Oh, we need to see a slightly softer side of Adam in the beginning.
Okay.
Super easy fix.
Yeah.
But still, it was a rejection, and I remember just reading.
Oh, hang on. So it wasn't like, like for example, that example that you just gave. It wasn't a, we need to see softer side. Can you write that and resubmit?
No. That's weird. So at that time in US publishing, the feedback that I was getting from other authors was the editors wanted something basically perfect in their inbox.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if they
gosh.
recovered from the COVID era where people were leaving in droves, and I don't know if they ever caught back up to that. So it was just that was like, yeah, that was rough to
That's
get such
really rough,
glowing,
especially, yeah, because we were
yeah,
just saying earlier with your suspense YA
yeah,
that the feedback wasn't useful, whereas now it
yeah,
sounds like it
it
was.
was.
But
They were telling me what needed to go in. I'm
mm,
like,
mm,
hey, but do we want to let me put that in and then offer something? But yeah, I mean, it all worked out. So I actually think it all worked out for the best. Because I think the longer that it was out on submission, that I just felt really, it was just like an unease there.
mm,
And I was
mm.
just thinking, you know what? I want this book to be published in Australia. Like so whilst I was writing this book, my dad had 3 strokes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So
sorry.
no, that's okay. He's okay. Like he's
Mm,
good now. But it was like this book was like my lifeline during that. It was so important to me when I was working on it. It's why the family in it is so prominent.
mm.
And I just thought, I want my dad to be able to walk into a bookstore and see it.
Yeah,
And if it sells in the US, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen here. There's no guarantee that it'll end up in a bookstore in Australia.
true.
And the more I thought about it, I was like, that's my end goal. My end goal is to be an Australian published author.
Mm,
And I was reading so many Australian authors at the time, and I was just like, we have so much talent here.
we
Like,
do.
I want to
Yes.
be part of that. I was like,
Mm,
that would just bring me so much joy. So
mm.
spoke to my agent and I was like, hey, you can't submit to Australia. I'm going to. And I switched it all back to Australian character, Australian setting, and it just felt so right. And
Wow, that's a big decision, right? Especially
right.
because I've had this conversation with quite a few writers, and as a debut, like when you have an agent or you
Mm,
have an in, it just feels so terrifying to say, no, this
yeah,
isn't right. So again,
yeah.
Bridie, good on you. That's amazing that you
I
followed your
yeah,
instinct.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my big thing in life is you follow your gut instinct. It
Mm.
never steers you wrong. The only time you get steered wrong is if you ignore your gut.
Oh, totally.
And my gut was screaming at me
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
like, you need to send this out in Australia. And so I did.
So then before you did that, those that bits of feedback that you were getting in
Mm,
terms of, if you could do this,
yeah.
were you making those changes or did you think, let's
No,
just see? Okay, all right.
yeah. I know I
Okay.
probably should.
No, I was
Did
just
I think
curious.
like that? No, because I just had a very specific idea in my mind about who Adam was as a
Yeah,
character.
no, that's great.
And
That's again
yeah,
amazing that you have that
I don't know
vision and
what it
again
is.
sticking
Is
to.
it stubbornness or is it, I don't
No,
know.
it's amazing, honestly. Like, well, it wasn't just someone. Emily Maguire asked me once when I
Mm,
was not in the same situation as you, but I'd had some really big feedback, and which meant inherently just changing everything about Onslaught.
right.
And I was going to do it because I was crazy. I was crazy at the time because I just thought this was my only chance.
Yeah.
And she just said to me, will you be happy seeing that version on a bookshelf in a
Mm,
shop? And I went, no.
yeah. Right.
But it took that kind of
Yep.
reminder, whereas it
Yeah.
sounds like you've really honed that instinct and you trust it, which is so, so amazing.
I got 20 years, 20
Well,
years, and
yes.
learn that at the
Yes.
end of the day, it's your story.
Well, yes.
Has to be something that you love and that you are proud of. Because imagine
Mm.
walking into a bookstore and being like, oh, I wrote that, but I don't like it.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's heartbreaking to go. I spent all this time and effort
Yeah.
and as you said, soul crushing disappointment.
So
And
much.
now it's a thing on the shelf that I'm not 100% proud
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that would just kill me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that would be absolutely gut-wrenching. So I was like, you know what? I know what I want from this book. I'm going to do that. And
Okay. So then you started submitting to Australian publishers or agents as well.
no, I went straight to publishers.
Okay.
So I did a little spreadsheet because, yeah,
Of course, you
in
have
my
to.
day
Yes.
job, little misorganization. As an author, not so much, but I was like, we're going to channel the day job energy and we're going to create a spreadsheet. So I put in all the publishers, and there were two that were like my dream
Hmm.
publishers.
Hmm.
One was closed and didn't look like they were going to be opening anytime soon. So I was like, okay, we won't submit to them. And then I sent off every other submission far the one to text publishing, because sending it off to text publishing felt so do or die for me. They were who I wanted. If they said no, I think that is what would have broken me. I would have just been like, that's the end. I can't. Like, they would just, I've wanted to be published by them for so many years. I just respect them so highly.
Yeah.
And so I sat on my submission to them, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can send it. And I was like, I think I got a rejection from one Australian one, and I was just like, oh, I mean, that sucks, but you know, pick myself up because that's what I do. And I thought, okay, it's now or never. Send it to text. Like, you just got to do it. Bite the bullet.
Oh God, I know that feeling. Yes.
I felt sick. I felt so sick. It was one of those moments where it was like, you hit send, but you then close your eyes. And
Yes.
Like, did I do that?
Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my God, I actually did it. It was awful. And I did it, and I thought, oh God, I'm never going to hear from them. Or if I do, it's going to take forever, and it'll be we're so not interested. But yeah, a couple of weeks later, there was hey, do you mind sending the full manuscript? And I remember,
wow. So do you remember then at the time what their publishing submission guidelines was? How much of the manuscript did you have to submit in that first go?
I feel like it was the first 3 chapters.
Okay, yeah. And a synopsis, presumably?
I think it was a synopsis as well, which I hate doing a synopsis. I'll write a million pictures, but if you make me do a synopsis, I will throw a fit. I was like, I hate it. I hate it. Sounds bad, but I put 0 effort into my synopsis. I'm like, we don't need to make the synopsis fancy. It's literally A meets B, we get to Z. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it's stubborn. I'm just like, I'm just no. So yeah, I sent off my first 3 chapters.
That must have been such a thrill when they asked for the full.
Oh my God, So I was sitting at my desk here. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was about to log off from the day job, and I saw the email from Zoe, their assistant in the office, and oh my God, I flipped out. And then I spiraled because I was like, oh my God, how do I send a full? I don't know how to send a full. I've forgotten how to send a full. And I was in the DMs of one of my writing buddies, and I was like, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I format it? Do I put my name at the top? I put my name at the top. I just spiraled. I was so just shocked, like so shocked, and sent it off. And it was, I got an acknowledgement the next day, and I was like, okay, we're in October now.
Yeah.
Not going to hear anything before Christmas.
October 2024.
Yes, I had to think about that. I was like, oh, what year are we in now? October 2024 literally was like, we're not hearing anything this year. Like 0 chance of that.
Yeah.
And then exactly 1 week later.
1 week? That is so amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So I sent it the Tuesday night, got my acknowledgement the Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, sitting in my office at work, and I was all by myself because no one in my team was in that day. So I was in a little corner sitting on my lonesome. And then the email from my editor, Jane Pearson, popped up. And you know when you click it and you're expecting to see the but?
Yeah, unfortunately, like you just quickly scan to look for that word. It's like,
oh, we really enjoyed it, but.
Yeah.
And so I was like sort of half reading the opening where she was saying that she loved it, because I said, it's going to be a but. So I was like looking for the but. I'm like, there is no but. Where's the but? I had to go back and read it again. I'm like, there's definitely no but. She wants to meet me in person. Like, what the hell?
Wow.
It was insane.
Oh my God. That's the best moment.
It was, oh my God. Yeah, I still think about it, and I'm just like, go back to that day, and I'm like, oh my God, that was the moment. Dream coming true.
Yes. Like, so what did you do? Like, did you scream? Did you like?
No, I
don't know.
It's professional. I was in the office. I was pretending to work. I literally sat in the corner, and I was in people's DMs freaking out. Like, because in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to offer me something, but also being like, okay, be cool. She may not offer. You may be bringing you in person to tell you the but. So she might be dragging you in there to be like, oh, we love it, but. And I was like, she might do that. She might do that. And everyone's telling me she's not going to do that. Like, she's inviting you to meet with her. Like, that's.
Yeah. Publishers don't have time to meet people in person to say no.
I know.
Yes. But you don't know that at the time, because you have to like temper your excitement.
Right. You can't get too excited, because then what if it doesn't end up being like this?
Exactly.
So I was like, all right, it's probably going to be a deal, but let's just prepare for the but. And so I went into the office on the Monday, and she just sat me down, and that day, that was just a dream to just sit across from like Jane Pearson and have her tell me that she loved it and to
Oh,
list what she loved about it and to be like, we want to publish this. I was like, are you serious? Because I was surrounded by all the textbooks. We're in the boardroom. And I'm like, wall to wall text publishing books. I'm like, I'm going to be one of them.
I
That's going to
know.
be
Oh,
me.
God.
Like, oh my God, absolute moment.
So in that meeting, did she talk to you about like the kind of time frame and when it might be published, or was it
Yep.
just we would like to make an offer?
No,
Yeah.
we talked about it all.
So she'd already gone to acquisitions by the sounds
Yeah,
of
they
things?
operate differently. So
Okay.
this is what I have discovered about the publishing
Yeah.
industry in Australia.
Yes.
Everybody does it differently.
Mm,
So
mm,
text, from my understanding, seems to follow the US method. So my contact there was Jane from day dot.
mhm.
She acquired it. She worked with me on every stage of the editing process. She's my go-to in the text team.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think she had said that like she was getting emails in from everybody that were all just saying yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So she sent your manuscript to
She said
everyone.
yes, and they've read it.
Right.
And
Okay.
yeah, I don't really understand how it works, but it had already gone to acquisitions and they had said yes, we
Said
want
yes. That's
it.
very
Yeah,
fast in 1 week.
right.
Oh my Lord. They must have loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which made me sweat a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, can I live up to that? Like, what if it all falls apart? Did they actually mean me? Did they not think that they were bringing in like Bridget Black, who wrote like the husband contract? Like, I don't understand it. Like, this doesn't happen to me. I get no's.
Surreal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was incredible.
But you heard like 2026 as the potential publication. Or
So
was that?
when we first talked, she was kind of saying maybe the end of 2025 or early 2026. And I initially was like, oh, 2025 would be really cool because Holly Brunbauer and I, we wrote out
Yes.
at the same time. Wouldn't it be awesome if we debuted in the same year? And then 2025 hit, and I was like, yeah, I feel like 2026 would be a really good year. So let's look at that. Because I just feel like 2025, I started 2025 with a little bit of like a health issue that meant I couldn't write for 3 months, the first 3 months of the year, because I was just in so much pain. And so then I was like panicking that entire time, being like, oh my God, if I have to release this year, I'm screwed. I am absolutely screwed. So then when they came back and they're like March 2026, I was like, oh my God.
Great. Yes.
Brilliant. Love 2026. Sounds great. Let's do it.
And was there a lot of like a structural edit or, reworking that you had to do?
No.
No.
So there was a structural edit, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, it wasn't intensive. So, well, for me, from what I'd been used to, go back to that YA suspense, it's like I had to completely change the characters. There were 4 characters, and I had to change one of their storylines. Like,
oh wow, that is big. Yeah,
I've done intensive edits, and so this wasn't like there was a few extra chapters I had to add at the beginning just to give it more of like a base in Melbourne.
Yeah,
before we left. But yeah, that was really it. There was a few little things throughout, but there wasn't anything that was major.
Yeah. And were you writing something else, or did kind of even the kind of not intensive work on it, was that just consuming all your attention and effort?
Yeah, no, I was also working on something else. It'd been sort of like drilled into me that just make sure you've got another book ready to go. Because like the publishing industry, it moves slow, but it also does actually move quite quick. And I didn't want it to get to like, oh, my book is coming out, I don't have anything else ready to go. That stressed me out more than actually working on 2 books at the same time.
Okay. And the other one that you're working on, is that a rom-com too?
Yeah. So I'm very happy in the rom-com space, and I don't see myself leaving it anytime soon. They just make me happy. I'm so happy writing them. And that's where I'm going to stay.
So, okay, so rom-com readers expect
Mhm.
certain kind of beats.
They do.
So
Yeah.
how do you hit them and keep it, I guess, fresh
So
or
yeah, I mean,
different in some
yeah,
way?
yeah. I mean, there are obviously those certain beats that we do need to hit, like the meet cute, the feelings that kind of hit around the midpoint, the third act breakup. Then you throw in all the tropes that we all just love, which I adore a trope. And I think in order to keep it fresh, for me, honestly, it
Mm.
comes down to the characters.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, every character is different. A character that I write will react one way to a situation compared to, say, like a character that you would write and
Mm.
pop it to my story.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, it all comes down to characters. And my
Okay.
main focus when I'm writing is characters. Like that's
Okay.
what my attention goes into. And I've
So,
seen.
so then just going in when you started writing a second one,
Mhm.
like, did you already have a sense of what the main kind of, I don't know what the right word is, not thing, but the main type of interaction? Because, the boyfriend clause is fake dating.
Mhm.
Did you already get a sense of, like, will it be enemies to lovers or best
I
friends to lovers, or like, did you have a sense?
absolutely. So the second one that I worked on is actually the very first rom-com that I ever wrote that my then agent said she wasn't interested in. Because I shelved it and I was like, yep, absolutely no dramas. And when I pulled it back out and I read it, I was like, oh my God, this is trash. This is so bad. Thank God she said no, because if I'd sent her that manuscript, she would have laughed in my face and been like, you suck. But I couldn't let those characters go. And this is what I mean when like characters are so important
Yes,
to me.
yes.
I could not let them go. And so I pulled it back out and I put it on one screen and then I completely rewrote it. Like not a single word from the previous one, except their names stayed. So I completely wrote it, completely changed like their backstory
Mm.
and the story itself. And I poured so much energy into it because these characters were so deeply, deeply important to me.
Yeah, nice.
Uh,
And is that one finished now?
it is finished.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And so your deal with text, is it a 1 or 2 book deal?
So it's a one book deal with
Mhm.
an option on book 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you already
Yeah.
submitted book 2 to them?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I have sent them book 2 and now my brain is moving to write what's going to be book 3.
Excellent.
I'm,
Excellent.
yeah, in my mind, I really want to try and be consistent,
Mhm.
at least for those first however many books until people are like, oh, hold on, I know that name. I know what
Yes.
type of book she's going to produce. And then, yeah, you can
Yeah,
maybe.
you develop and build and
Yeah,
your
exactly.
readership and look
Your
after them.
readership,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So that's kind of my focus. And so my brain is always thinking through the long list of ideas that I've got and it's like, okay,
Nice.
which one can be our next
Yeah.
one? But I can't start a book until I have a character's voice in my head.
Yeah. I
So
hear you. I'm the
yeah,
same. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'll write my pitch, but I just still can't start it until the character is there.
So I know that, you had tried in the US for a bit, but
Mhm.
are there kind of any major differences or even similarities that you've noticed or that you came across between, say, US publishing and Australian publishing?
Australian publishing moves a lot quicker.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah. So I would say that like in the US, it feels like it's 2 years until your book will come out, which I know does happen occasionally here.
Mm.
But I feel like it just moves a lot quicker here. And I mean, obviously our industry is, it's slightly smaller,
Much smaller. Yeah. Yeah.
much smaller. And it just
Mm.
feels, I don't know, I love our industry here. I just think it's so nice. It's the only way to describe it. It's just nice.
Mm.
And I love that it's a small industry. Everybody knows everybody. It's just, yeah, it's lovely. But yeah, it definitely does move quicker. And I do, just in conversations that I've had with other authors, things are done differently here as opposed to the US. So when I say like the text sort of follows the US publishing model, I know that some others don't. Like I was having a conversation with someone and they're like, oh, who's your publisher? I was like, text. And she's like, no, but who's your publisher? Text. It's like, I don't know what you're asking me. Text is my publisher.
Yeah.
But I think some publishing houses here, you get acquired by a publisher and then you
Yeah.
get
So
editor.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And so that was a difference that I noticed between Australia and the US. And I felt very stupid in that conversation because I just kept repeating text. Text is my publisher. I don't know what you're asking me.
Yeah. So then, Bridie, what does your writing routine look like now? You mentioned a day job.
I do,
How do you balance life, work, all of those other commitments?
I don't. I work 7 days a week. I try not to. So I'm very lucky in my day job in that I get to work from home 3 days a week. And so on those days, I get up early and I write before work. I'm a morning person. You get me after lunchtime, I'm useless. I cannot form a sentence. So I'm like, you've got to write before work. And then I also belong to a group of Melbourne-based authors, and we meet up on a Saturday morning over coffees and pastries with our laptops, and we try and write then.
Sometimes wonderful.
We don't, because I talk the entire time. And sometimes I'm always like, sorry, guys, I ruined it for you today. But yeah, it's a good group. And so we kind of try to keep each other on track there. But yeah, if we fail to get words in, then I commit my Sunday to writing. So yeah, I'm trying to make the most out of the pre-work mornings so that I can get my weekends back a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you, along the way, now that you've kind of written so much and so many manuscripts, have you done courses and things, or do you feel like your craft has kind of improved due to feedback and other writers and your own like knowledge through reading?
Yeah, so I did some courses with the Australian Writers Centre. So back in my early 20s, that's when I sort of started doing courses. And then when I switched to writing rom-coms, I did one of their romance courses. So yeah, I've done some of those courses. And then honestly, my learning has come from feedback.
Yeah.
And this is why I just think it's so crucial to an author's career to put yourself out there to get feedback. Make friends with other authors, swap your manuscripts. It's terrifying. It still terrifies me to this day. Send my work to somebody.
What do you do when you get feedback from somebody and you can see what they are, what they mean by their feedback, but you also can see, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I'm really interested, but you can also see that it doesn't work for your story or for your characters. Have you been in that position?
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you I mean, you don't have to tell the person whether they're going to use it or not, but how do you come to that realization of this feedback is good or this feedback I can see, but it doesn't work for my book or for my story?
Yeah.
How do you make that decision? Do you know? Or is it instinct? Yeah.
My gut. Yeah. You do know. So I think in the early days, I would take on every single piece of feedback and I would try to apply it. And it would get to a point where the story just wasn't yours anymore. Like, this isn't what I wrote. Like, this doesn't make sense. This is awful now. I mean, it may not have been great to begin with, but it's worse now. And so I think you do learn how to pick the feedback that's going to work for you. But you're not going to apply everybody's feedback.
No, exactly.
It's so subjective. Reading is so subjective. And you know what's going to work for you and you know what's going to work for your story. That does come with time and practice. That's not something that somebody's just going to wake up and know.
Yes.
Yeah. But go with your gut. Go with your gut.
And I suppose for people who are not sure in terms of instinct, because they might be, writing something and they don't know what they're doing, because a lot of first-time writers start out, or when you're actually writing your first novel or whatever, you may not know what you're doing. So I guess maybe a good way to approach it if you're not sure is, does it change the story or change its meaning or change characters in a way that doesn't fit your idea, right? That could be a way to say,
exactly. Go back to thinking about how you wanted the story to come out, what you were wanting to say, and if that doesn't serve it,
exactly. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You don't have to apply every single piece of feedback. Even in my discussions with my editor, she was like, you don't have to apply everything I say. I mean, I did because I agreed with her and She knows what she's talking about. If I didn't agree with her, I wouldn't have done it.
But that's also a mark of a really respectful and collaborative editor.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
That an editor should always be able to empower you to say, I reject that suggestion, or I can't use that suggestion because of X, Y, Z, you know? That should be that collaborative nature as well. So brilliant. Yeah.
No, she's brilliant. I'm so happy that I got to work with Jane. She's fantastic. So
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So Bridie, you've already actually given me lots and lots of excellent tips, but
I'm glad.
If you could think of another one, or if you have specific ones that you thought about before coming in, what are some tips that you would give aspiring or emerging or even established writers?
Oh, I mean, the number one.
Or a tip, yes.
Yeah, the number one tip, honestly, is just don't give up. No matter how many times you get rejected, how impossible it feels, just do not give up. Like if I'd given up in my 20s when, I got told that my writing wasn't great, I wouldn't be here now.
Exactly.
And you know what? It has taken 20 years. It's taken a lot longer than I had wanted it to, but I'm actually kind of grateful for that. I think I'm in a good spot in my life where I'm actually ready for this. If this had happened in my 20s, no, I probably would have just been a one-hit wonder, put one book out and then just been like, oh my God, I can't do it. So I think, I'm really happy with the path I have kind of gone on.
And, while I definitely agree with you that 20 years is a long time, but also what's really struck me during our conversation today is this beautiful, quiet confidence that you have in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from that perseverance and that kind of, you call it stubbornness, but it is resilience and it's perseverance.
Oh, that's actually very nice to hear. I'm actually not a confident person at all. But for some reason, when it comes to my books,
that's what I mean. And that's the important thing.
Just
that, that whatever's happened, whatever the feedback is, you've just gone, no, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
And that's really, really important. So
Well, I mean, I quit uni to do it. So it's like, I better actually make it happen.
Yeah, you backed yourself.
I backed myself because I did not go and get a career. It's like I backed myself that this was going to happen, and I took a job that I actually do like my day job. I should say that. I actually really enjoy my day job, but it pays my bills.
Yes.
Writing is where my passion is. That's what my energy goes into. Just keep at it. That's all I can say is just keep going.
I like it. Well, Bridie Blake, thank you so much for being on the book deal with me. And by the time this episode airs, The Boyfriend Clause will be out. It's a great read. It's funny, it's easy, and it's very joyful. So
thank you. That means the world. And it has been an absolute joy.
All the listeners, get out there, buy it.
Go and read it if you want to laugh.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening to the Book Deal podcast. We're able to bring you these weekly writerly chats because of our amazing patrons. Join the TPD family by becoming a member of our Patreon community at patreon.com/the Book Deal podcast. And if you love the pod, please give us a rating or review. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook.